if you just want to start, if you can introduce yourself, starting with your name and where you're from, describe where you were born, and did you grow up in the same place you were born, where did you go to school, what did you study and why, and then talk about your family, your children, parents. What is your family community? That's the first question.
I'm Asma Khader. I am a lawyer, Jordanian, from Palestinian origin. I was born in a small village called Zababde. In fact, my family is a family that is middle class family. My father was a very progressive man, so he was believing in women and girls' education. That's why he makes sure that I attended the school, and in spite of the very difficult situation in the 50s, I moved from one school to another, but I was able to finish the secondary school in Amman, with 1 or 2 years in another village in Jordan, in Al-Husn, and also I attended a school in Nablus for another 2 years. I attended the University of Damascus for studying law, graduated in the late 70s. Before being a lawyer, I did do many other things. I worked as a teacher for 4 years and as a journalist for 1 year. But then I started practicing law. Since then, I was always a lawyer. The very early years was a lawyer working in another law firms, but since 1984 I opened my own law firm, and I did do my best all the time to save this law firm, as I discovered how much it gives me freedom and flexibility to pay attention to other issues that I believe in, such as human rights, democracy, civil society, women's rights, children's rights, all these issues. And to be frank, the family helps me a lot. Having an understanding family, supporting family, helps me to make a decision to go to another country, to Syria, to study law, which was not normally accepted by the society for a young girl to live and live on her own somewhere else in that time. The other thing which helps me is the early involvement in public activities. I can remember easily that since I was 14 years old, I was participating in demonstrations that is really happened because of public issues. And I was one of those who were leading these demonstrations. As school students, we were also able to encourage other schools to go out to the streets and to demonstrate. And this very early experience in being involved and connected to the public movement was very important to shape my future life. And also I can say that the public life experience started then, but also it was very closely to the social constraints that is surrounding girls in being involved in public life, because I realized that boys are most welcome to be active publicly, but girls, it was strange and it was not welcomed by families. So my relatives were really challenging my father and my mother why they are allowing me to be part of such movements. But they were very understanding parents, and they were even supporting me because the causes were a justice one. Mainly it was for politics, and especially for the Palestinian refugees who were obliged to leave their cities and villages in the West Bank in 1967. And since then I became involved in these type of public interest issues. but year after year, I discovered that women are not equal to men when they want to be part of these public issues. So I start to realize the discrimination issues between men and women, girls and boys, and I start focusing on these issues because I thought that as a woman, as a girl, I want to enjoy equal rights, and I want to be taking responsibilities on equal basis also toward these public issues. It's important to say that in a family with 3 daughters and 2 brothers, it was comparing with other families a small family, in fact. And the main resource that our parents focused on for our life was being educated. So they encouraging us to complete our high education, and they helps us in being part of the movement of the democracy, civil society organizations, and women and human rights organizations. The parents, in fact, played a role because they have been very much supportive. For example, my father always was a great supporter for me as a girl, a female who want to be active in a public life. Even practicing some cultural activities such as going to the cinema or participating in plays or all these things, which was not easily accepted by families for their daughters or their female members of the family. In the meantime, my mother was a great supporter because she was always taking care of other responsibilities that I have to do. And she was always trying to help me achieving my goals, and that was very important for me when I was a young girl and when I became a wife and a mother later on. She was always there for me and for my children, and that's helped me a lot. The fact that I am also coming from a Christian background in a Muslim community involved in public life helps me to understand the need of a diverse elements of a society, and this diversity is enriching the community and not dividing this community. We were very close to our neighbors who were Muslims, to many families who are Muslims. We were feeling that we are Christians, but we are living in a common culture and a common society that we belong to it, and it belongs to all of us. And I am shocked these days to see how much beliefs are dividing people, and diversity of cultures and elements of a society is, instead of enriching these societies, are dividing them, which I think is totally different from the early years that we raised in, where we really believe that we were one type of citizens living in one society, despite of the Muslim majority communities or a less number of Christians in that society. Also, it is very important to say that maybe the discrimination against women that was everywhere around us, we can see it through the practice of their families, despite of being Muslim or Christian families. They were conservative, all of them, and they were discriminating between their girls. The role of boys are different. There are stereotyping of roles of men and women, girls and boys in the society, despite of their backgrounds, religious backgrounds or other type of backgrounds. The other element is in these early days, I have to learn how to deal with the different opinions, to confront those who are really challenging the roles that I am trying to play, or my colleagues, friends who are really joining these type of activities. We were always in confrontation with the traditional beliefs and the conservative groups who are not really believing in a role of women in public life. And these lessons were very valuable and important through my life and experience, because it learned me how to negotiate, how to deal with the arguments that is arise, how to confront a teacher who is not really allowing me to make a decision what kind of studies I want to do, or a neighbor who is challenging my family because I came back late in the evening, for example. These type of practices and the way my parents were speaking to others, defending my role, defending my right to and expressing their trust in what I am doing was very important for me. Nowadays, I can see that this negotiation skills is very much needed to try to lobby for issues and to try to advocate for specific issues that is not accepted, issues that are new, that are about to change the current situation related to women issues, specifically to human rights, to democratic values, to tolerant issues, to peaceful negotiation and resolution for problems. All of these things is more and more needed in the current days situations, and I think that previous experiences was very important for me in this regard.
That's great. What a beautiful story. It's really interesting to hear more of your background. It's great.
What did we forget here? Did we forget anything?
No.
In the beginning.
I will go on to the next question. No, you covered it all very